finally watch the sunset on a grateful universe. Oh, I didn't see you there. Oh, so now we got the whole scenario and thought process out of the way. I'm gonna go ahead and just do a whole breakdown of what I'd wear in my first line, everything, my light fighter, and then into the Ruck. And just for reference back, this is kind of what it all look like. The first line stuff. First off, I want to say is keep your gear clean. So going into pants, I really like 50/50 Nyko standard BDU pants. They're breathable, they're durable, and they're pretty cheap. I can go into why I really like this camo pattern, but honestly, yeah, the material is the main thing. Is that it's a very durable field type pants, especially in my kind of AO. There's a lot of thorns, brush, briar, etc. Also, the other reason why I like kind of these BDU cami pants is they have decent pockets. And so going into first line stuff is, this is a Segura Gear emissary belt. In one of my past videos, I actually use this for my kind of my gunfighter belt. But honestly, it's a pretty decent all-around belt, and it's gonna hold up these pants well. This is actually brass, I believe, so I won't throw off my compass. Pretty solid belt. Also keep gloves. These are just some mechanics gloves. So I guess the technical shooter gloves, whatever. I keep those carabiner to my pants so I don't lose them. These are kind of my all-around kind of favorite glove. Are they the best shooting glove? No. Are they the most durable glove? No. But they're cheap. They're reliable. The whole gloves is a whole other video. So starting on this left side, I have the Gerber strong arm field knife, and I have that tied to my belt loop, so that way it's a very old-fashioned way of retaining my knife, so I can pull it out of using kind of retention off my pocket. I pull it out when this is dangling, and when I'm ready to resheath it, just tuck it back in there. There's still a decent amount of room in here, so I can throw bandana or whatever, a neck gaiter, whatever I want to throw else in that pocket. That's one thing you'll notice. A lot of this stuff I'll leave extra room, so on the fly, if I think about, hey, I could add this there. You know, I'm not just screwed because everything is fully loaded. So moving over to this pouch, I have a high vis panel, just a small one, and then also I usually keep my compass either tied up to this belt loop, just like I have my knife, so I can whip it out and look, or I can, use this as a placeholder and then put this wherever else I want to on my kit. And like I said before, there's also still a little bit of room. I don't like putting a ton of stuff in these front two pockets because when I'm running and walking and hiking or whatever, I don't like having my quads or whatever impeded, but to each their own. Alright, so going to these beefy cargo pockets. Let me slap that in. So on the right side, I keep my field kit. I have some fire making stuff, some aqua tabs to help, if my Sawyer minis, need some extra, the water's questionable. Some paracord made into a Ridgeline, lighter, duct tape, other odds and ends, whatever else you want to throw in your field kit, and keep semi-waterproofed. And then also a map of my AO. I'm not going to throw that around. Y'all dudes zoom in on that and find where I'm at. Freaking call the ATF on. Just kidding. But yeah, having map and field kit in there. I also have a protractor in here. I honestly don't mind overloading these side cargo pockets too much. There are also these little pockets, and I actually think I have a little bit more paracord, and I'll usually have this tied into a bow line, so that way if I want to string up my pack, it's an old bushcraft thing I saw in a video, dude. You tie it around a tree, put a toggle in it, you can hang your bag or whatever off of a tree branch. Pretty cool. You could throw flex cuffs in there. I don't know how big those are. Mainly, you don't want to throw anything too crazy. I think I have an extra bandana. That's actually my neck gaiter that I usually throw on when I throw these pants on. You don't want to throw anything super important in these because you'll probably lose them going, like rubbing on brush and stuff. And then also, depending on how you wear your boots or you blouse, whatever. Also, gaiters are a pretty essential piece of gear, not only in really cold weather, but also in hot weather, keeping crap out of your boots and insects and whatnot. And in this other cargo pocket, I keep my IFAC in a Ziploc bag. And I currently have this button for some reason. But yeah, I just ripped that out. Basic IFAC. Nothing too crazy. Yeah, just have medical on you somewhere. And I just like having it in my left cargo pocket. On the back, some people don't like putting stuff in their butt pockets. I don't really mind. Bandana. These are just super useful. You can pre-filter your water, wipe away sweat, make small bandages, extra tender. You run out of baby wipes, I'm gonna use that, dude. And a cold weather hat. So if I'm running a boonie during the day or whatever, I want to throw this on when it gets cold or whatnot. Great piece of gear. So yeah, that's all the crap that I keep in my pants. Moving on to the top. So depending on weather and whatnot, for instance, if it's cold, you need to be able to wear, like your base layer, your mid layers and everything. And I'm a big proponent of kind of layering with your BDU top over that, because this will provide not only camouflage and kind of uniformity throughout this. If you have like another buddy, you don't want to accidentally, think he's someone else out there. But also this material is very, very durable, so it'll protect your mid layers and your base layers and whatnot. So, and that's one thing I actually have a problem with, is that actually this one is a medium that I regularly wear. However, in the winter months, if I want to put on like my wool sweater and my waffle top, I actually really need a large. So something to consider. Also, whatever camouflage you want to wear is whatever. But like the cargo pants, these also have decent pockets. So in this one, I have protein bar and some markers. Honestly, Cliff bars are way better than these, but I have these stockpiled, and Cliff bars are kind of expensive. And honestly, depending on the severity of the event, I would need all this crap. I'd probably run out of Cliff bars by then, or maybe I have it on the first couple missions, but after that, you run out. That's a whole nother topic of what food you want to bring, whatever. This other pocket, I have my glove liners. I like keeping them on my chest, and that way I can cycle through gloves potentially. So if I get one glove, really wet, or maybe it's cold, I can, this is close to my body, keep them warm. For some reason, I have my Vicks inhaler thing. So if you're huffing and puffing, especially you've been in, some really nasty winds for a while and you're having a hard time breathing, huffing that crap like it's freaking meth will keep you going. I don't recommend y'all do drugs. This other cargo pocket, I don't like keeping a ton of heavy stuff in here because it's for my shooting arm. Emergency chem lights, and this is some meds, some boo-boo stuff. I think I have one of those little P38 can openers in there. There's also where you put your identifying patch or morale patch or whatever. Other cargo pocket, notepad, super important. This is a recce mission, so you want to be able to, write down, whatever notes you want to take. Honestly, having, here's another pencil here, and then also wearing a headlamp, you want to wear that around your neck, keep that on person. Also, a lot of people wear neck gaiters or around their neck, that way they can pull it up. I'm a big fan of those. I wear a balaclava in a lot of my videos, but that's mainly for OPSEC. I don't recommend wearing those when you're going to be doing a lot of activity. But yeah, that's the stuff I keep in my field top. And like I said, base layers, mid layers, heck, even my wind jacket or wind shirt would go underneath this. My puffy would go underneath this. So that's just my philosophy. And then Gore-Tex can go over this, and then my puffy jacket could potentially go over this. But yeah, that's another also part of my first line kit. My kind of very budget kit bag, and that is this is basically a knockoff of the Hill People Gear kit bag. That's essentially a small, kind of usually squarish chest rig, but it's not really a chest rig. But it used to hold certain first line items that you'd want to plus up on and have on person all the time. So, and a lot of people also use this for concealed carry, you know, if they're going hiking or whatnot. But honestly, I think it's a pretty versatile piece of gear, and I've even seen some old Vietnam photos of similar-esque, you know, pouches or whatnot that go on your gear. Especially because yeah, I'm not operating as if I'm some sort of military with the squad. Like I said, I'm just maybe 1 to maybe 2 dudes, maybe 3 dudes, but it could potentially just be me. And there are a lot of other considerations, redundancies, backup plans, and that regular armed prepared citizen might need to consider. So this is totally an option. I may or may not use this, just depends. So going into it, I have some utility gloves. So there's a lot of good reasons why you might want to have a pair of leather-ish work gloves or utility gloves, whether that be you're messing with hot stuff, you're messing with whatever. So having a pair of, and I've actually got these sized to where I can actually have my mechanics gloves, whatever, and then throw these over them if I need to do something and I want to protect my hands. You can also put cold weather gloves here, whatnot, but yeah, there's that. So like I said, a lot of people use this to concealed carry. If I want to also have a handgun on me, this is going to be the way I'd probably facilitate that. So just my Glock and then a spare mag. Like I said, so many different reasons why you might want to have backup systems. Whatever, this just gives me options. I could thread, you know, I could put AR mags in here, a flashlight, extra headlamp, and this little zipper pouch. I keep a ton of these hand warmers, some cordage, and I actually use these if the weather does drop below freezing. I will tie my canteens to me, and yeah, that helps facilitate that. A lighter, some face paint, throw some extra tinder in there, maybe extra observation devices, maybe a big thing of binos, just a ton of different uses for a small chest bag. So hopping into the light fighter rig, so obviously I've made some changes to it that I did in my last video of the light fighter rig. Not only in it's more of a 3-season kind of setup, not just strictly hot weather, but I've also changed, you know, some pouches and different attachments, and just kind of it's set up a little bit more differently. So the first thing I looked at is I wanted to make sure it was super balanced. So a lot of the things you'll see are kind of, it looks very symmetrical, and I just think, like I was saying before, it's more comfortable, it's more efficient, and yeah, it's more balanced. So starting on this side, I have some Eagle triple mag pouches, or it's a 1x3, I guess you want to call it. So it carries 3 AR mags, and has a buckle closure system if I choose to run it like that. And it has Velcro too, along with the buckle. And then I actually bank lined plus the little elastic a tourniquet pouch. And this one's empty for now. I actually have a tourniquet in this one, and it's actually a flashbang pouch. But whatever you want to throw in here, honestly, I'd like to have some smoke grenades, frags, you know, if you're in the military or whatnot. I guess you could throw a flashbang in there. But basically, I'd like to have a throwable in there. I just don't currently have any yet. Or you could carry 2 tourniquets, if that's your thing. And obviously, I could put a frag grenade pouch, or a dedicated smoke grenade pouch, a dedicated tourniquet pouch, whatever. It'd be the same kind of setup. Alright, so this is a surplus saw pouch, Molly saw pouch, I believe. So I have folding saw, These are some bolt cutters. If you know what these are good for. I don't recommend y'all doing criminal stuff, but these can be pretty useful. This is a baggie full of protein bars, some instant coffee, some electrolyte mixes, and whatever other things I want to snack on and have quick access to. This is my main water purification. This is a, however you pronounce that, CNOC or whatever, Adapt or Die, and Prepared Airman did good videos on it. And then here's my Swarm Mini. So this is a 3-liter dirty bag that I fill up with water from this big opening, hook up my water filter, and bam, got a decent amount of water purification. And then I also have, this is my BCB fire stove. I can carry 3 of these solid fuel things, plus a windscreen. These things are pretty legit. I would highly recommend these. And there's still a little bit more room, but honestly these pouches are just super versatile. If you want to carry linked ammo, more throwables, more AR mags, whatever you need to, these are very adaptable pouches. Alright, so moving to the other side. So like I said, this one is mirrors the other side. This is a tourniquet that I keep up front. Another triple mag pouch. And then this is an Eagle, I think it's a 100-round saw pouch. It's a little bit smaller than this one. I have a fresh pair of socks. Always carry a fresh pair of socks, preferably dry. A bunch of batteries, so you know, weapon light, ear pro, radio, whatever, well, all the batteries you might need. This is a battle fang that I have some plastic just because these are not waterproof at all. So if you're going into nasty weather, either get a better radio or take measures. And I have it set up for the antenna can face out, and then I put whatever routing system up to like either ear pro or just a push talk. And then lastly, I have my solo monocular. This is a 10 power, I believe. These things are super awesome. Just the amount of force multiplier capabilities you add in just a small package. And like I said before, pretty versatile pouch. Carry whatever you need, and I really like this one. Even though it lacks some of the closure that this pouch does and it's not as stiff, I can tighten it down really well if I need to. Alright, so moving on to the butt pack. So now that we're on the back side, on these canteen pouches, I actually got some Nalgene Oasis canteens. These are pretty solid canteens. They fit a lot better on this form wise. They're lighter. Yeah, they're pretty cool. And I actually only have one canteen cup on this side. So I do have means to purify water with boiling if I so choose. Honestly, I kind of wish I had 2 of these just because it makes putting these back in a lot easier than having a closed canteen pouch. Or at least I say that. Alright, so now going into the butt pack. So, first thing you notice is I have a folded ISO mat. This is actually a cut up version of the Thermarest Z-Lite. It's like the half one. Well, I cut it in half to essentially, it'll cover like my collarbone to my knees. Unless it's like super cold, that's honestly all the insulating you'll need, and it saves a lot more room. You can carry a full mat. I've seen a lot of dudes will run this plus a secondary thin insulating mat. I don't have any super expensive ones, but that's definitely an option. Honestly, in the summertime, if I'm running let's say I'm running like a hammock, but I don't have any, trees, or it's, I want to say low profile, I might put a ground sheet down here. Because I won't really need insulation, but in the summertime there's bugs and stuff, I can put a ground sheet down. A lot of different options for mounting stuff down here. So up top, once again, I have a poncho. Super important piece of gear, always have a poncho. And then going into the butt pack. Now, getting into this, I just want to note there's a million different ways you can have your butt pack set up, different pieces of gear, some ultralight pieces of gear, some just all sorts of different options, hot weather items, cold weather items. Like I said, this is kind of a 3-season approach, and who knows, it might change down the road. So first thing that I just dumped, some tent stakes so I can make a poncho shelter if I need to. Weapon cleaning kit, pretty standard. Honestly, I don't really like this one just because it fits really long, mainly because of the cleaning rod I have, so I'll probably update this in the future. I have my Cry nightcap, and I have the mount back here. Like I said before, moving at night might be a big deal, so whether or not I choose to run a bump helmet is totally dependent on whether or not I want to focus on nighttime traveling. But even then, this is a pretty awesome piece of gear. It's lightweight and it does like 90% of what a bump helmet does, but it's way more lightweight and compact, considering I can literally carry it in my butt pack, versus I would have to dedicate my Ruck to carrying a bump helmet during the daytime. Alright, so in this dry bag, I had actually carried a whole lot of variety of stuff in this dry bag. But first off, PVS 14, so pretty mission critical piece of gear. And then the Snug Pack jungle bag. So this jungle bag is honestly, it's a pretty awesome piece of gear. Can do its own video on it. But regardless of how cool and awesome it is, it's still not a miracle. What I'm trying to say is it's not like the end all be all, and it won't do everything exactly. Like, don't expect it to do super crazy stuff. Like, for instance, it has a comfort rating of about 45 degrees. I think the low is like 36, but I've taken it down to about 40 by itself, and I was pretty comfortable with clothes. And then this, in conjunction with cold weather clothing, I could probably survive at around 30 degrees. But honestly, it's basically just like a poncho liner or woolly on steroids. This is way better than a poncho liner. I know a lot of dudes don't like that, but it's lighter, it's compact, it's water resistant, and I could wear it as a cloak. It's kind of goofy looking, but it's totally doable. And depending on how much sleeping I need done, I could just wrap myself in this like a poncho liner, in kind of a budget-friendly version of the Snug Pack, or not the Snug Pack, but the Swagman roll. Also want to note, if I don't put my PVS 14 in there, I can honestly fit the bivy on this as well. But this is water resistant, got the ground pad, got a poncho. I could do pretty well with just this in a 3-season environment. Move that out of the way. I have one Mountain House meal. I have some emergency rations. I believe this is like 3 bars in here. My survival kit. And then foot powder. And that is everything I keep in the butt pack. And like I said, there's multiple different ways you could fit stuff in here. Obviously in the summertime I might put my ultralight hammock in here. And a ground sheet maybe. Totally sky's the limit on what you can put in here. I could put my bivy by itself in here and maybe an extra mid layer if the weather's not super bad or it's not super cold but it's wet. That's an option. Really versatile butt pack to the medium Alice section. So just like everything else I showed, there is multiple different ways how I could set this up. It can carry a variety of different things, just like all the other things. It's very adaptable. But I'll go ahead and break it down what you're currently looking at. So currently I have this set up for the coldest. I would probably take this, like the coldest environment, late winter. And any colder, I'll get into that later, I guess. But first thing is, I've actually been experimenting with this a little bit, and instead of carrying a heavy e-tool, I've been messing around with just taking like a gardening thing. I'm still messing around with it. I know they make dedicated, like camping ultralight ones, but this is just what I had laying around, and That's what it works. One cool thing about these Alices that you can do is Counting Coup. There's multiple different ways to mod it, but I did his mod because I can still retain the original hardware, but basically it just have quick disconnects, which makes it way more convenient than the old way. That out of the way, one of the reasons why I really like Alice packs is just because of these big, super cool pouches external pouches that they have on the sides, and then also all of this webbing that goes all the way around. You could put whatever pouches, extra ammo, food, heck, whatever floats your boat, you can put on there. Honestly, I've actually been looking at some of the Marine Corps or Army Molly sustainment pouches, which basically it would extend all the way up to here, and I could just have a crazy amount of sustainment or whatever I need to do right here. But for now, these saw pouches are pretty cool, and they're about the same size as these. So going into the first main pouch, and all of these are items that I want to either throw on or get to really quickly. Just throw this off real quick and get to it. So this first one, I keep it in a sock to keep it quiet. Some fuel. Of water and a canteen cup. Even though I have the 2 canteens, this gives me 1 more liter of water. And then the cup, I can purify, or this is steel, so I can purify or heat up water using that. And then also the little stove itself. Now, depending on the season, I might just not carry this and just carry the 2 Camelbacks plus, the during the summer I might just carry 2 of those Nalgene Oasis canteens plus 2 steel cups, so that way I can boil water and then just use a Camelback. But more on that later. Alright, so I usually change up what I have in these depending on season. I have Gore-Tex bottoms. Super important cold weather gear. Honestly, it's more important than the tops. It's just because you're kneeling, you're sitting for long periods of time, you're laying down, whatever. Gore-Tex Gore-Tex bottoms. Super important piece of gear, especially in cold weather. And then on this other side, usually I would keep my Gore-Tex top, but I actually keep my puffy jacket. This one's a really cheap one, but if I'm stopping for a while and I was on the move and now I'm getting, starting to get pretty cold, I'll throw this on over all my stuff and help stay warm, and then I can stuff it back in there pretty easily. And that's why I like these pouches, is I can just stuff them in there real fast. Honestly, I should probably do the buckle mod to these. I just haven't got around to it. And now currently, I'll save these side pouches for the end. So like I was saying, this is set up for more really cold weather. I have an extra sleeping mat. Now this one is insulated. It's a self-inflating mat. There are a lot better mats out there. This is just the one I picked up on sale. But I'll only bring this if it gets like into below freezing or at freezing. So it's honestly more of a comfort item at that point. And then I also have a 10x10 tarp with 2 bungees, and then 10 stakes are inside of the roll. So this is also another item because I do have my poncho and I can make a poncho shelter, which 90% of the time is more than enough. But when it's really, really windy outside and you got like negative wind chills and really cold weather, having a tarp, to fully set up, cover all your gear, help you, change, clothes and stuff. Super nice piece of gear. However, I would still consider both of these kind of comfort items, and if I need to shed weight, these will be the first two things I'll drop. Depending on weather, of course. Alright, so I can still access this pouch usually, even with everything's on, but I keep, these are kind of my cold weather gloves. Yeah, these are Outdoor Research trigger mittens, and they're actually just the MGS Gore-Tex shells. So by themselves they have no insulation, and I just have some cheap trigger mitten, or not trigger mittens, but the foldable mitten. Like they're like a fleece that I picked up on Amazon. Pretty decently warm, and I'll just keep these in there for, you know, when it gets into nighttime, the weather drops. It's also a cold weather gear item, so if it's not, you know, if it's the middle of summer, obviously you wouldn't need these. Some duct tape, or not duct tape, but some toilet paper and Germex. I carry a little bit in my butt pack usually, of my belt kit, but you know, if you're out there for a while, you're gonna need more toilet paper and sanitizer. Also, I'd probably put, you know, some extra paracord in there, maybe some extra fuel. Like let's say I'm not using the camping fuel, and I'm really trying to cut down on weight, I might just carry extra BCB Fire Dragons. But yeah, also a fast access pouch. Alright, so getting away from there, like I said, this more cold weather stuff, I have, first off, inside of the bivvy, I have my Gore-Tex top. I already have a poncho on my belt line, so this is another kind of comfort item, and also kind of a spare clothing item that, you know, I can have an extra top if I need to. And then just inside of that is the Snug Pack bivvy, and then this is a green patrol bag from the modular sleep system, the regular U.S. Army green bag. Honestly, this plus the Snug Pack jungle bag is actually pretty warm, and I've actually took it down to about 5-ish degrees Fahrenheit. I was still iffy, but a lot of that was just the wind chill and your shelter at that point. But if it gets that cold into, like, I would say comfortably around 10 degrees Fahrenheit, this is what I'd have to bring, obviously. If it's any colder than that, I'm just gonna have to take my large rug, just because currently this is the extent of my cold weather. And to be fair, it doesn't really get that cold that often. That's kind of, it was that cold then, but now it's like in the 50s again, so totally optional. And like I was saying before, I can fit the bivvy in a belt kit if I don't need this. So there's that. So obviously that took up a ton of room in here, and that'll take me to what I keep on the sides, and that is both of these saw pouches keep 3 Mountain House meals and some oatmeal packets, or basically whatever food you want to bring, whether it be your own MREs or whatever, trail mix, freaking dried meat and cheese, whatever you can fit in these saw pouches. That is most of my sustainment options. That's most of my sustainment. Now, like I was saying, if it's not super cold where I need that whole sleep system in there to plus up on, obviously I have all this room in there that I can basically get away with not using saw pouches, because if I don't need excess stuff, I'm not going to bring excess stuff. So I'll just put all my food in here. And then also, like I was saying, if I don't need that cold weather, you know, sleeping mat and the tarp, you can better believe I'm going to run my dromedary bag, and I'll either attach just this assault pack to it and run my Camelback through there, or I'll just take the entire dromedary bag and shove it in this inner pouch. Alright, so going into what I actually have in here. So, in this kind of waterproof bag, I keep, let me just go ahead and break it down. This is also one of those things that, depending on the season, varies what I'll keep in here. So I have some of these shower wipe things. I only have 2 currently because I've used all the other ones. Some hand lotion, petroleum jelly stuff. This stuff is super cool, nice in the winter months because I just get really dry hands. And just, yeah. This is some like extra meds and boo-boo stuff. Have some type of cough drop or whatever in the winter months because if you get a little bit froggy out there and you're just coughing 24/7, that's not going to be good. I have, actually there's some boo-boo stuff in here, but I have some duct tape, some hygiene stuff, yeah. And then I have a couple pairs of like 2 base layer shirts, 2 pairs of underwear, and then a bunch of pairs of socks. Honestly, depending on how many days you're out there and what the weather's like, honestly just changing, your underwear, your socks, and then maybe a base layer is a pretty good system to have. Now there was a little bit more room in there so I could fit maybe some food in here, but I don't like packing things to the brim. But yeah, and a lot of this, I've already said a million times, depends on what's the weather like. I also keep an extra trash bag, that way I can cover my entire gear with this, whether I'm stashing it or I'm just protecting it from the elements. Like let's say I'm setting up camp and I just have a poncho shelter and throw that on. Obviously, having a pack cover is important to keep it waterproof. And then also, like I was saying, depending on your mission or not, if we're doing a lot of night movement, I might, pack a boonie in here, but then during the day, if I need to move a little bit, I can carry my bump helmet, and I'd probably carry it in a different pack versus my light fighter rig. So that is totally an option. So like I said, the main goal of this is just carry extra clothing, base layers, socks, and then food, and then whatever special items I want to bring. But honestly, the goal of a patrol is just to move as fast as possible, light as possible, stealthy as possible, and depending on the event scenario, I might cut a lot of this down or I might bring a bunch. It just totally depends. But let me know what else you would throw in this pack, or if you think this whole thing is stupid or it's a cool idea. Just let me know. And y'all snuck up on me again. I hope y'all like the breakdown. Let me know what you would do differently, what you'd add to the ruck or to the belt kit, what are some first items you would do, and what do you all think about the overall just kind of thought process and the loadout in general. Let me know. Hope y'all like this. Stay safe out there, and God bless.